All right, Broncos country, we is live, man. Hopefully, you guys can hear me well. Hopefully, you guys can see me well. I am traveling, as you can see. I booked a last minute uh, flight out here to Vegas. Um, had an opportunity to watch the game with my brother who came out here, my father who came out, brother-in-law, a bunch of family members. I actually booked it like 12 hours before I had left. So basically, last night around this exact time is when I had decided to come out, and I just had a feeling, man, did I have this strong, strong feeling that this was going to be a special game, special memories built with obviously the people that I love most. And it was exactly that. It was so much fun. And then all of a sudden, the biggest buzzkill of all buzzkills in the world, well, in the sports world, right? I mean, in life in general, there's obviously a lot more things that could be worse that happen. But what I want to do is I want to focus today. I want to focus the first part of this show on just the game. We'll talk about the Bo Nix situation and the broken ankle and moving on to Jared Stidham and all that. And hopefully I'll be having my buddy Jeremy join me here shortly. But yeah, I got you, Cody. I got you, bro. I'll send it to you right now. So my thing is like, it's such when I first heard the news, man, I was so gutted. I really was. I was so, so hurt. But you look at this game, the way that this Broncos team fought, the way that they continued to be resilient, the way that they just battled, man, through adversity, through having a really good start, a good lead at halftime, especially with all the things that happened. Right before the half, right, we go down, we get that big touchdown, give us a 17-10 lead, and then Buffalo basically gives us free points to be able to get into a 20-10 ball game. You knew Josh Allen and you knew this Bills team was going to fight back, and they did just that. And all of a sudden, man, we were talking about on Horsepower Hour, I think on Monday, we were talking about what situation would you prefer? It's a 4-point game. I think it was Jeremy that asked the question. He said, it's a 4-point game. Would you prefer for the Broncos to be 4 and Bo Nix have the ball, or the Broncos to be up 4 and for Josh Allen to have the ball? And my initial response was, man, give me Bo Nix. This team's done it, blah, blah, blah. And then you think to yourself, no, you kind of always want to have the lead. Well, I'm glad that I was right on my initial, because that's exactly what happened, literally exactly what happened. The Broncos ended up having the ball with Bo Nix, and all he does is go down the field and ball out. So I am pleased to be joined by my guy Kodiak. What's up, man?
Yo, I'm feeling great. I apologize in advance for everybody who's watching at home because, trust me, I was there at the stadium. I know I don't sound very good.
Yeah, no, I even lost my voice. I can't even imagine how you're feeling, man. But break it down. How was the? I mean, the atmosphere seemed insane.
Oh my God,
Today.
the atmosphere was absolutely incredible, man. Even during the times where it didn't look that great for us, I was like, you know what? I'm going to scream my head off because I want the AFC Championship here. So I felt very vindicated that Broncos country, they used the noise to their advantage. And yeah, I think what you saw today was just 76,000 fans asking the team for the AFC Championship, and the team delivered.
Yeah. No, it was amazing, man. It was amazing to see that Mile High Magic. It was amazing to see, just even on the TV, the camera shaking, the atmosphere there. It all seemed ridiculously fun. So I'm really happy you got a chance to go. And when I first found out that you were going, I was like, hell yeah, because Kodiak, when he's gone, we haven't lost. What's your win streak right now?
Trying to think.
We got like five in a row, right? I think at least.
Last time I saw us lose was actually Stidham's starting game in Vegas 2 years ago, where you are.
Uh-oh.
But before that, it was Cincinnati in 2021, where Bridgewater had like that fumble. But ever since then, 2024, Colts, Browns. I'm trying to think. Yeah, and then this year I saw Titans. Who else did I see? Giants. All incredible games. So whenever I see the game, it's absolute cinema. I saw Chargers, Packers, and then today Bills. So I'm 7-0 in the past few years.
No, that's amazing, man. That's why I was so happy to find out that you were down there. Obviously, an unbelievable game, just all around. And I think for me, the thing that was the most vindicating and that felt the best was to see, like we always talk about it. We say, Bo Nix has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the 2 games that he's played Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
He didn't win the first one, but they ended up winning the second game this year. And to be able to go toe to toe with a quarterback like Josh Allen, who I thought played obviously up and down, but he's still Josh Allen, and outplay him, and then for him to have the ball last, it was last in overtime, but to be able to have a chance to go down there and need a touchdown to win and do it was just, for me, it's like a star is born, right? The legacy begins there. So like what were your overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you basically said it yourself. The best thing about Bo is every time he's asked to do something, he delivers. Now, the start of overtime was a little spooky. When Cortland had those 2 drops, I was like, oh no, the season can't end like that. But J-Mac made an incredible play. And then
unbelievable play.
Yeah, Bo took care of the rest, man. And you know what? You're right. A star is born, because there were a lot of moments in the game where the offense went limp, particularly after the field goal we kicked at the beginning of the third quarter after the Allen fumble. I thought, man, we really missed our opportunity for the knockout punch there. But ever since then, ever since Buffalo went up 27-23, Bo answered the bell, made an unbelievable shot throw to Marvin Mims. And I was like, man, you're right. Could be a coming out party, could be, a legacy game. Because honestly, we know that Bo has the clutch gene. I was asking you guys on Horsepower Hour, you want the ball in your hands? Yeah. Every single one of you was like, hell yeah, I want the ball in your hands. That's why.
That's why. No, and I'm glad that he proved us right, man. Like I really am. I thought it was an incredible performance. And the really impressive thing was like, dude, I mean, Pat Bryant comes out of the gate cooking. Like It looked like the game plan was to feed Pat Bryant against Teron Johnson, which I loved. He looked so good. And then he gets out with an injury, right? And then Troy Franklin out of nowhere just goes out with a hamstring. And then we thought Marvin Mims was not going to come back, but luckily not only did he come back, he was really impactful. Like we started to get hit with these injuries, but our ability to just kind of rebound, it felt like we didn't miss a beat, was awesome. So man, kudos to this team. Kudos to Bo Nix and this offense. I thought they were offensive. What's your overall take on this defense? Because it was like the most bipolar defense we've had all year.
I mean, I said it in the Discord, like without Brandon Jones, I feel like I'm just watching the 2024 defense all over again. You guys remember what our defense was like last year, down the stretch, they bled yards, but they got their fair share of turnovers. Like that one lock picked off today, that looked like a carbon copy of Chris Abrams-Drain's pick on Herbert a year ago. Like I was literally getting deja vu thinking about that. But obviously, I'm not very thrilled overall with the performance of the defense today. Like we should be a bend but don't break defense. We should not want to play, the style of play where we just bleed yards and we rely on turnovers to bail us out. But kudos to them for making it work. Once again, I'm not too thrilled with it because this is something we literally saw a year ago. We saw this exact same game plan, and the fact that it worked again for Buffalo, that's a little troubling. But once again, something has to be said about the clutch gene. Even when they didn't have their best day, they still were able to make the turnovers. They still were able to make everything happen. And you make your own luck in the NFL. So, yeah, that is my overall assessment of the defense. Like, was it perfect? No. But you got the job done, whatever. Throw it in the trash in the memory bank and let's just move on.
It was so weird, man, because, like, it was kind of the complete opposite of how this defense has been all year, in my opinion, in a way, right? Like, I don't know how many sacks we ended up with. I can pull up the numbers really quickly. It looks like we had, we had a total of 3 sacks. So we were pushing the quarterback pretty well. But like all year, we were all talking about like this defense is great, but the biggest thing that they need to do is start turning the ball over and forcing turnovers. And I think they were -3 as a team the whole year, and they ended up going +4 in their first playoff game. And the crazy thing is, like, even in an overtime game that went more than 60 minutes, the Buffalo Bills never punted. They scored on every drive that we didn't end up turning them over. And so it was like really it was like one of those things where you're so irritated at the defense. At least I found myself like pissed off. Like they couldn't get off the field on third down. They kept giving up these plays to these like random guys. But then all of a sudden they would have this massive turnover play. And it really started with Alex Singleton.
Yeah.
And this was the game, man. It was like a vindication game. It was almost like the Broncos organization as a whole listened to all of the YouTube channels and they were like, who do they talk shit the most about? those guys are going to ball out. Alex Singleton, game-changing play. PJ Locke, unbelievable interception. Lil Jordan Humphrey, right after that just terrible drop on a Bo Nix dime, comes back and has the big game. And it's like, I feel vindicated. I'm happy about it, but it was crazy.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. And I guess we saw it mainly on the defensive side of the ball today with PJ Locke and with Alex Singleton. So maybe next week it's the offense's turn. Okay, maybe we get some Lucas Kroll out there because I know that we don't really like him all that much. Maybe next week, I don't know. We shout out Jaleel a lot this year, you and me. We were just like, he doesn't need to be out there on the field. What are you guys missing? And then whenever he's been given the opportunities, he's made plays. But now, it was nice to see those guys step up. And like you said, was it perfect? No, absolutely not. But, that was, you know what? You're right. You're right. I guess ultimately, what's the saying? The cream rises to the crop. And Alex Singleton, man, without that play, we probably get run out of our own stadium. I'm being so for real.
Yeah.
Also, they were cooking. If they go up 14-3, even 10-3, I'm just like, man, it's going to be a tall task for us to do because they could just run the ball all day long down our throat. But yeah.
No, 100%. Dude, that was such a massive play. Yeah. I mean, it was so big time just to flip the momentum. And then it was nice that the offense, completely responded, went down, had a scoring drive too. So unbelievable game. Like I don't feel like I was texting in my siblings group chat that I have with all my siblings, and I was like, this must be what like heroin feels like. Like I've never felt that kind of a high. It was awesome. And then, obviously the big elephant in the room, like you just get this news. I was showering, I was like freshening up to be able to prepare for the night. And I saw something from Schefter and it said, Jarrett Stidham is ready to go or something like that. And I was like, what? And I saw the news that Bo Nix is going to miss the rest of the playoffs because of a broken ankle that happened on the second to last play. And a play that even when I looked over it 20 times looked like, really? That's going to end the season?
Yeah.
Where were you? Walk us through like where you were when you heard it and kind of initially like what went through your mind. I mean, for me, it was like the ultimate buzzkill.
Yeah, so I went to the game with 3 other people, and instantly as I, pulled over, it was taking some time to myself because honestly, I didn't get a lot of time to myself today to just, chill out, enjoy the moment. When you're surrounded by 76,000 people that are screaming, you don't really get that opportunity. Yeah. But I was parked, and then I saw the tweet from what's it called? I saw a tweet from Ari first, and it said that Bo Nix is going to miss the rest of the year, and I was like, no. And then I opened the Discord and I see that Andy had already sent it to us. And I was just spamming all the group chats. Like my phone was on fire for like 10 minutes. And, guys, disclaimer, don't text and drive. But it was really hard for me to not have my phone in my peripheral vision on my drive home. Pulled over, made a quick short. I was like, oh, God. And then I was calling a bunch of people because, I do, call and text my family and friends whenever major Broncos news happens. I guess I'm their version of Schefter, but yeah, so my phone's going nuts. And overall, man, I'm just like, it's obviously heartbreaking because Bo had a masterclass today, especially late. He did everything he needed to. Even the overtime drive, like he still made those throws that made the Bills dudes interfere with Mims, with Sutton. So yeah, but either way, like you said, devastated. Where were you? You were walking through the Aria. I saw when you made your video. So
when I made the so I was like I said, I was in the shower getting ready. I was like on a high. I felt like I was on cloud 9. I heard the news. I just opened the door after I dried off and I just looked at my brother and I was like, Bo Nix is out for the rest of the season, bro. And he's like, what? And I think my initial reaction, like genuinely, was just like, I feel so gutted for Bo Nix, for him. Because you think about it and it's like, dude, what he's done to his franchise and the city and having such an unbelievable performance, showing on the national stage what he can do. Like so many people, crazily enough, still doubted him, making unbelievable throws. Like, dude, the throw to Mims in the end zone, that touchdown throw was unbelievable. A lot of the runs that he had, like I felt so bad for him because it's like now it's regardless of how the rest of the season plays out, there's not really a winning formula for him. There's not a way for him to to truly like to be about him. If the team ends up losing, obviously it's a bummer, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, it's because they didn't have their quarterback. But you could never be like, oh, Bo Nix did this or Bo Nix did that, and it was like, and then let's say we go on this Nick Foles-esque run with Stiddy, and he ends up winning the next game and going to the Super Bowl at least, and it's like now it almost like does it hurt your legacy? And it's frustrating because the conversation shouldn't even be about that. It should be about like what happened. And it's like, man, you wrote this unbelievable book. You won 14 games in your second season. You had an incredible performance in the divisional game against a very good opponent. And now the book's not really going to be able to finish itself for him. And so that's really what my initial thought was. And then the second one was just like, it was a state of shock, right? Because a part of me was like, man, I'm really kind of intrigued by seeing what the hell Stidham can do in this situation. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And the other part of me was just like, oh my God, like, was this our Super Bowl? In a way, like in terms of the win. But it's crazy because then I started thinking about it. How often have we talked all year about like how this kind of seems like it's reminiscent of the 2015 season, right? And what happened in 2015? It was different scenarios, but like Brock Osweiler came in as the backup, kept us afloat for, 6-7 games. And that was a major reason why we were able to win the Super Bowl, because we got the 1 seed. We ended up playing one less playoff game, everything at home. And so it's like, dude, that's nuts, because it's coming back full circle in the exact same way. 10 years later, when the Super Bowl is in the exact same place, but now our backup has to go in and win the final 2. So it's wild, man. But what are your thoughts, like, genuinely, now that you've maybe let it all set in? I don't think it's going to set in for me until like Wednesday. But what do you think about this team's chances moving forward?
Well, I mean, initially, once I heard the news, I was like, you know what? Stidham, next man up. Now that I've had a little bit of time to digest it, I'm feeling a little less optimistic than I was when I first heard the news. But, you said it. I feel like this year is more reminiscent of 2015 than 2005. Does that make sense to you? Like, I feel like that this team has, the infrastructure in place to support a backup quarterback. I feel like this team, they have what it takes to do it, especially if we get Dobbins back next week. Now, without Bryant, without Troy, if they do miss next week, then the task does get a little taller for Stidham. But you know what? I think Sean, the reason I don't panic is because Sean's not panicking. Okay. He went to the press. You probably got a chance to watch the presser. He went to the media members. He was just like, hey, guys, just figured I would tell you first. Bo Nix is going to miss the rest of the year. And he very much said that he has full confidence in Stidham. And you know what? I believe him.
He's been saying it. I mean, he's said it all year.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a now thing, but like he said it in training camp. I think you all remember when Jarrett Stidham was named the backup and Bo Nix started week 1 at Seattle last year. He was just like, I know I'm a starter in this league, whatever. I don't think a lot of us have forgotten about that. So now it's time for him to put his nuts on the table. I always say, let your nuts hang. All right.
Yeah.
Let him hang. Capable of QB1. All right. And the good news about this is, if there is any, Dobbins probably next week. Don't know how. Don't know how effective he'll be, but we have missed him bad. We've missed him really bad. So, you know what? I think we have everything in place to make it fine for Stidham. I will say, I think if we make it against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, I think we're cooked. Like, literally, I just don't think we have the horses to actually do anything against their defense with a backup quarterback. That being said, man, against the Texans, against the Pats, not that I think we're going to win either of those games, but I'm not panicked. I think we have a shot. Like, probably I thought we would beat either team before I heard the Bo injury news. And now I'm feeling a lot less confident. I don't think we would beat either team, but it's not impossible for me to envision us doing it.
I'm still pretty confident that we would beat the Patriots if we played them. Wow. And I'm not even trying to be like a Patriots hater, but I don't see anything special in that team. Maybe they proved me wrong. That's the beauty of sports. It'd be cool if they did, because it's like, all right, awesome. Like it's always more intriguing. And I love Drake May. Drake May was my number 1 quarterback. I had him ranked over Caleb Williams, but I don't see that Patriots team being all that special. But anyways, that's obviously, I think, a conversation for later. I think now it's funny because it was like 4 months ago, Kodiak, where we had those crazy Bronco fans. You know how Bronco country's crazy, man.
Oh yeah,
We have some nutties. We have some nutties.
Did one of the guys' names rhyme with how do I put this? Dark Ruiz by chance?
Yeah, Dark Ruiz was one. There was a lot of guys that were just like, oh, after the preseason, you're talking preseason game. They were like, we need to have Sean Payton give up play calling duties to Davis Webb, who's the quarterback's coach, by the way, and not even the offensive coordinator. And we need to bench Bo Nix and start Jared Stidham. That's how people thought. Well, those crazy people are now going to have their chance to, put their nuts on the table, I guess, for lack of better words. But yeah, it's the weirdest situation of a game that I feel like I've ever gone through personally, because it's like, man, you go to the highest of highs. You just feel unbelievable. You feel so good. And then everything starts to make sense. Like Bo Nix's reaction after the game, he was excited, but he wasn't himself. And then even when I was watching Sean Payton's presser, this is the original presser before he came back out, and obviously I didn't know anything about it. It was like he wasn't really himself in a sense of, we're on to the next game. We're looking forward to the next one. It almost seemed like he got punched in the nuts too, and it makes sense now looking back on it. But at the time I was like, it's kind of weird, but maybe it's playoff victory Sean. We've never experienced playoff victory Sean, so maybe it's different. But yeah, man, I don't know. But I think for me, if I'm going to rate this game from like Sean Payton as a coach standpoint, I think he got completely bailed out. I was so unbelievably mad about the game plan, and it sucks because, I know now it all doesn't matter because we won. But I was furious with Sean. I actually thought he had a really bad plan, ironically. And I think he got bailed out by Bo Nix and the offense and obviously the defensive turnovers. What were your thoughts overall, just being there, of like the offensive game plan going into it?
Well, I thought the script was really, really good. I thought the opening drive script was fantastic. Obviously, you lose Matt Bryant, basically alters pretty much everything. And, like I said, if Lil Jordan does not drop that first whatever, then, we're talking about something probably completely different with the opening drive. That being said, I didn't think they were ready for Buffalo's, Buffalo attacked. They were blitzing and they blitzed the right side of the field, and we had no answers. Like, that's why we went so limp in the second half for a long part of the drive, or for a long part of the game, or half, or you guys know what I'm talking about. Regardless, I thought we didn't have a lot of really good answers for what Buffalo was doing, which, I mean, it was kind of crazy because, I thought Buffalo was completely outmatched personnel-wise. But you know what? Losing Franklin and Bryant was a huge equalizer. Then, man, Courtland Sutton, oh my God, you are killing me. Courtland Sutton, you are killing me. I would have liked to have seen us run our game plan more through Sutton. Maybe after overtime where he dropped 2 passes, maybe I was fine with them not running the game plan through him. But I thought, what I will say, I do think he did a great job adapting, not schematically, but personnel-wise. Okay. First of all, there's no excuse for Marvin Mims to not be getting like at least a 60, 70% snap share next year. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
it took a freaking 2 injuries, to force him into that. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no. So, which is really, really stupid considering the impact he had on this game. So, I mean, if we get Kroll, Troutman, like Prentice at 50 to 60% next year, I'll be really upset. But you know what? I think that was Sean willing to put his ego to the side. Or not an ego, because I don't think he has anything against Marvin Mims, but they obviously just have a different role in mind than I guess what we do. But schematically, I think you're right. Like, I was anything but impressed with what they were doing, because honestly, once the Bills adapted, the Broncos were way too late to adapt. Like, that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I thought for me, man, like, I was screaming at the television in public we were at an awesome little like sports bar area we were sitting. I was screaming like, Sean, run the fucking football, dude. Like, what is going on? You're playing a team that we should have a massive advantage at running the ball. At one point, we were averaging 4.5 yards a carry. And he throws the ball more than double the amount of times in a game where a lot of the times we had the lead. And like, it's not like I wanted them to become very conservative. Like that's one thing I did appreciate about Sean today is like, we got the nice little lead, then we got the sack fumble coming in at half. And I'm thinking, all right, don't get overly conservative like you saw last week with some coaches do. Keep playing your game, but like, dude, run the football. Like you, it's not just about the fact that like, oh, maybe your running backs aren't being super effective. You've got the better offensive line. You're playing at home, at altitude. To throw the ball 46 times and run it 22 is an atrocity to me. Because like I look back at the game with the Jags and the Bills, and I was like, the Bills blew that game completely. And not the Bills, the Jaguars. They completely blew the game. Like I could not believe they were averaging almost 7 yards a carry, and they just stopped running the ball. And we were. It's not that we were necessarily doing that, averaging that much, but we were effectively running the ball, and I felt like, man, it's gonna pop. Like, keep trying at it, it's gonna pop. And he just wanted to keep throwing it. Like it was actually driving me up the walls, insane. But then again, there's been so many times where he's driven me crazy, and we've ended up winning. So he obviously is doing something right. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like I had to vent about that.
No, you're completely right. And part of it is I just do not think he trusts this running back room at all. Which, I mean, I got it last year because last year the running backs weren't very good. But man, you used a second round pick on Harvey, dude. Like it's time for you to let your dudes be dudes. And I feel like, for all the great things he's done here, sometimes he does fall a little short with that. Yeah, I did think it was a little weird. I thought, you don't want to be throwing the ball 46 times. You just don't. And a lot of those were empty calories. A lot of those were just like tight end flats, screens for lots of yards. So yeah, I get it. I don't think Sean called a great game either. But you know what? He's
Yeah.
great at self-reflection. I think he's going to be a lot more realistic with what we can do with a backup quarterback next week. I think he's going to be a little bit more committed to the run game, especially if we have JK. Now, like I said, I brought up Dobbins' name a lot this video. I don't know. First of all, I don't even know if he's going to be back. It's just word on the street that he is going to come back. But also how effective is he going to be? That's another thing that you got to be worried about because honestly, your foot is a pretty big part of playing football. Okay. We just learned that with Bo Nix's ankle. All right. Your foot is a pretty big part of playing football, especially at a position where all you're doing is running the football. So it remains to be seen how effective J.K. Dobbins will be. But this was a different offense when we could rely on J.K. Dobbins. Okay. This was a very different team when we could rely on J.K. Dobbins. And, he was getting like around 15 carries a game at the beginning of the year. And honestly, I feel like, if we're going to stand a fighting chance against New England or Houston, that needs to go up.
Yeah. No, man, I mean, it's insanity because, like, even looking back on the numbers, I said we had 22 rushing attempts. 12 of those were from Bo Nix. 12. Our running backs had a total of 10 carries.
Yeah.
And my thing is like this. We have somebody in the chat here. TW4313 was like, Harvey's going to be RB3 heading into next season, which I think is absurd. But my thing is like, okay, has he been a great pure runner? No, like he's been fine. Jaleel has shown those moments, but like he's been fine. But they're not so inept that they, like there's no reason to give them 10 carries combined total. It just seems crazy to me. Like, and I feel like today RJ, especially in the passing game, made some unbelievable plays. He's made unbelievable plays all year. Like you can judge him as a pure runner, however way you want, and I think that'll get better. But I thought he was a beast today, man. Like breaking tackles in the pass game, just getting downhill. Like I loved what I saw from him. But 10 carries, dude, the whole game against the 32nd ranked rush defense is something inexcusable. But I guess at this point I'm nitpicking. There's a lot of other shit to talk about. So.
Yeah, no, like I think you're right, especially because at a certain point we had a chance to go for the knockout punch. Like had we after that Allen fumble, had we got up 27-10, that would have basically been ball game. But you're right. I think one thing that we did not do that the Buffalo Bills did a really good job of doing is we didn't finish our drives. Okay, first quarter we don't capitalize on the red zone chance. Even third quarter at the beginning of the third quarter, Allen. Sack fumble, you don't finish your drive there either. But Buffalo, anytime they got a chance to basically finish their drives, they did. And even the ones they kicked field goals on, they still ate up a lot of clock. Okay. And yeah, that's interesting. Shout out to you, Eli Betts. But yes, Mark is in the Sin City. But yeah, no, these guys are not so trash that you can only give 10 carries total. Like I got it last year. Except I felt like they gave Javonte too many carries last year after how
that's my
inept he was.
point. And like, dude, we have a good line. Like our offensive line is very good. Very good.
Yes, you're right. I don't know.
Like especially at run blocking, like we can do it. It's not like we're horrible. Like no, we have a good rushing unit. You get all these receivers that can block for a reason. Give them 10 carries is crazy.
Yeah, like why do you? Okay, I can understand going heavy on personnel, like the Troutmans, the Prentices. I always bring up those guys. If you want to just play bully ball and you bring in those guys for the specific purpose of blocking, perfectly fine, whatever. But the fact that we don't run the ball, it's just like, what are you doing? All right. I felt like for a lot of the year, I was saying, all right, your passing game personnel is Ingram, Bryant, Sutton, Mims, Harvey, or Dobbins or Bidet, whoever. Don't overthink it. No more of these Troutmans, no more of these Prentices, because if you're going to bring in to block, then actually run the football and actually commit to it. And instead, he just completely went away from it. And once again, I don't understand what Javonte did to get the trust last year that RJ and Jaleel have lost this year. Now I know that RJ has had a couple miscues on exchanges with Bo, and that's not good. That's really not good at all. There was another one today that luckily didn't end up hurting us, but maybe it's part of that you got to earn your keep sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you used a second round pick on him. So whose fault is it if he's not getting a more integral part of this offense, or not picking it up, or not having the impact on the ground that you would have thought?
Dude, David, I don't know if you heard was it 15 minutes ago we were talking about this?
Yeah.
But it's so funny that David comes in and brings that up, man. I love it. That's so funny. We were literally just talking about, we called it dark Fouis or whatever it was. Dark Ruis, yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm right there with where Jeremy is at, and Jeremy, I know that you had said that it was originally Jeremy was going to get on as well, but it was just crazy schedules with everybody. But Jeremy, I'm 100% there with you, dude. Like I said going into the game that I've kind of given up on Sean Payton and sticking to the run, but I was like holding on to that 1% of hope, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all.
Yeah, no. And Brian Newman also makes a hilarious comment here. No call. Tom Brady, offer him $50 million to suit up 2 games. I mean, nah, dude. Stidham, next man up. But so I think we've talked a lot about the offensive side of the ball. What are your thoughts on the defensive side of the ball? Okay. I know that we did touch on it briefly to begin the show, but was there anything specifically like pass defense, run defense that you want to go over?
It's hard for me to say just looking at it on the TV copy of it with defense. Like I think you learn a lot more when you watch the All 22 because you see a lot of different things. It didn't seem like we did anything necessarily different, but it was like we were very. I was surprised how bad we were against the run. We had like a lot more light boxes than I had anticipated that we would. It was almost like we took the approach of we're fine with them beating us in the run game, but not in the pass game, and like trying to eliminate Josh Allen passing the ball. And that kind of worked out because we obviously got five turnovers. But that's kind of the thought that's kind of what I thought initially. I was like, it doesn't seem like they even care if James Cooks beats them as long as they don't get beat in the air. So it kind of worked out. The 5 turnovers was amazing, came out of nowhere. But overall, we looked kind of weak. You know what I mean? We looked a little bit overmatched, especially on the D line, which was surprising to me. So that was kind of my initial thoughts, but I think we'll learn a lot more from it. But I'm curious overall what you think.
Yeah, I was saying this at the Discord. Like, it is disheartening because I do think Vance Joseph's unit has proven that they have an expiration date, and the fact that we've been the way we have against the good offenses this year in the second half of the season, it's a little disheartening. It makes me believe that the Texans are honestly our best chance. I think the Patriots are going to run all over us next week if they just copy what the Bills do. But you know what? Thinking about this unit specifically, it was disheartening because this literally looked like a carbon copy of last year's game plan from the Buffalo Bills. It was like, all right, we're just going to keep possession. We're just going to run it down your throat. We're going to use our great tight ends. And that's literally something that I said they were going to do. I think that's something that everybody knew they were going to do. And it's just, this team is built to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. and they're not wrong for building it that way. But when you have to adapt and you play against those like teams like the Chargers, like the Bills that really like to go heavy, it seems like this unit doesn't have a lot of answers, and that's why I look to Vance Joseph ultimately. And I'm just like, man, Arizona, please. I think it's time.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like I was at that point, especially when the Bills came back through the lead. It was 24-3. I saw a bunch of people on Twitter were like, "Hey, I hope Van Joseph accepts that Arizona job." But like, it's also tough too because it's like the guys on defense were making plays. The Nick Bonito sack fumble, like a lot of the things. But I was surprised they made an effort of like, we're not even. I don't even know how many times they blitzed. Like they full on did the, everyone goes to the line of scrimmage, and then they end up. Some people go back and some players go in. Like I didn't see any of that, so that was a little bit surprising to me. It was almost like it was such a focus on Josh Allen. But listen, ultimately it worked out. If Vance Joseph ends up being our DC next year, I'm completely good with it. I don't think he's given us a reason to not be good with it. But it's also like, hey, if it's got to be Jim Leonard or somebody else, then I guess that might be fine too. Especially if we continue to add talent and upgrade at certain positions.
Yeah, no, you're completely validated with the way you think about that. And, a lot of people like shout out Andy and shout out Colorado or Aussie Talks NFL in the Discord because they have said that the one problem with this team is that they don't have a true nose tackle. They don't have a true run stuffing nose tackle. Now, you would think that Owazariku would be that guy being 6'5", 320, but he just isn't. Like, he's not. And you saw that show up against the Buffalo Bills today.
When they play him at end, it's weird. Like I saw 96 playing on the end a lot today. And it's almost like they put Malcolm Roach in the inside.
Yeah.
On those situations, which is weird.
I know. I think that's weird, especially because Roach is like around 300. I think it's a little less than 300. But yeah, either way, what was I going to say? I was talking about Owazarika. Yeah. But no, we just, the part of this team that's truly missing, for all the guys we have on the defensive line, because it's tough because you re-sign DJ Jones, you re-sign Malcolm Roach, but you don't have a true run plugging nose tackle. And guess what? The guy that the Bills took to be their nose tackle in the third round today had an interception. It's just weird how that works out. But yeah, no, that's just the one thing that you got to get a little more serious, I think, with the weak parts of this team. Like, for all the oh wow, woe is me. We're 14-3 heading to our first AFC championship in a decade. And I think for all the great things this team did this past season, I feel like they didn't take the weak position seriously enough at building the team this offseason. So that's where I'd like to see them, get a little more serious and dialed in this offseason.
Yeah. No, I would agree, man. I think Jay Sandberg makes a really good point here, like saying there's no better situation you could be in after losing your franchise quarterback at this time. And like in a way, you're right, I guess, because it's like you really only have to win 2 games. It's not like you have to win a whole bunch to get into the playoffs and do all that. And the really positive news is like the ankle injury is it's not an ACL. It's not a torn Achilles where you're worried about him not coming back for most of next year. So that's all the positives. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get back to that. But yeah, in terms of overall, the defense, Jeremy says, do you guys think VJ coached well today? I think it's pretty awful and was bailed out by turnovers. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I thought it was tough. I thought it was a weird plan overall. It was different. It was weird because it was like, it seemed very far away from like what's gotten you there. So like when you heard him talk in the post-practice pressers this week, he talked a lot about like, we're not going to change it all that much. We're just going to have to do what we do and do it the best we've ever done it. And it didn't seem like they did any of that.
Yeah, no, and I do blame Sean a little bit for that too, because they're really good at self-scouting. They're really good at adapting to what doesn't work. I mean, hell, you gave up 70 points 2 years ago, and then your defense went on an insane run of turnovers. But yeah, no, don't think Vance Joseph coached well today. I will say, I will give Sean and I will give Vance a lot of credit for just an overarching belief that still was held amongst this unit, like the fact that PJ Locke still got that interception in overtime, even after they got absolutely gashed in the second half. That matters. That counts for something. Okay. Now, as far as X's and O's, we were completely outdone by Joe Brady, and it just is what it is. Once again, I thought it was absolutely comical because I felt like it was the same plan that Buffalo had with the wild card last year. But no, not too happy with how Vance Joseph coached today. But once again, there is something to be said about belief. Okay, they didn't hang their heads after they allowed Buffalo to go down the field and, just burn a lot of clock. They didn't hang their heads after the offense went 3-8 out to begin overtime. So there is something to be said about them keeping everything together. So I will give our coaching staff their props there. But overall, I was anything but impressed with how schematically Sean and Vance were today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it was really underwhelming overall from that front too. So I think the guys just came out and balled out, man. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here because we got just some stuff I got to take care of for the night. But I wanted to look at a couple of the different comments here. Oh, Nadim are coming saying Vance Joseph defense always falls apart at the second half of the season. The emphasis for the game was to stop the run, and we were majority inefficient. Like I said, I don't know. I felt like today it was like give them the run game, don't get beat by Josh Allen. That's just what I thought because there was so many light boxes and they didn't even try to go heavy. But that's just kind of my thought.
Yeah, no, I do want to highlight this comment from Rich Sainsbury 2285. The reason that he wasn't ruled down is because he never had full possession. Okay, you can't be down by contact when you don't have full possession of the ball. And Cooks just ultimately got low broed by Jaquan McMillan.
Yeah. No, I thought that was a really good. I thought it was a good call. You got to let the guys kind of fight for the ball. The one that I will say, I was like, it was a little bit iffy, but it was really nice that it finally went in our way because the refs. I mean, we talked about how many bad calls we've had this year. Was the pass interference call later after that when we got the ball back? There was one I was like, that was a little bit ticky tack, but the interception makes sense because you got to let both guys have a chance to get in the ball. Like Cooks caught it. But then Jaquan grabbed it, and then after the rollover, he took it away. That's, in my opinion, it's a pick.
Yeah, like if he had
at worst, it's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, exactly. Like
because he didn't complete the process.
Had Brandon Cooks held on to that pass, I would have been like, all right, cool. If he literally held on to it for probably a second or two longer, then it probably is Buffalo Bills ball. That being said, no, he never completed the process of the catch. I mean, it's very clear. Like, I think a lot of people were pretty reactionary watching that live. And most people, when they've seen the replay, they agree that the refs got pretty much everything right. Once again, I don't think the first DPI call was that good. But yeah, no. And Jeremy says this, he has to survive the ground too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to survive the ground too.
Well, and you have to think about it. Like, let's just pretend that McMillan's not in the play, right? It's just him by himself. If he catches that and then he rolls over and the ball comes out, it's incomplete. Just because he didn't complete the process of the catch, or just like Jeremy said, he didn't survive the ground. So you've got to look at it the same way. But the difference is instead of it hitting the ground, McMillan took it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's exactly right.
I thought
it was the right call.
Rich Sainsbury, because he is admitting that he's just like a little whatever. Yeah, man. My heart does feel for you guys, honestly. Like, I know we are the competition, we are the opposition, but it feels like you guys are at a crossroads. And man, I was saying that if the Buffalo Bills didn't win the Super Bowl, I definitely would have, or if the Broncos don't win the Super Bowl, I definitely would have wanted Buffalo to win it. But my heart does hurt for you guys, even though we were the opposition today. But yeah.
No, dude, I was telling my brother the same thing. I was like, a part of me, like, weirdly enough, even though I was so thrilled about the win, like, a part of me was so gutted for the Bills because I'm like, how many heartbreaking losses can this franchise take? It's not like the Bills just like sometimes get blown out and lose. They lose in the worst way, consistently, every year. So yeah, it's gutting for them. I mean, it sucks. It's obviously it's nice to be on the winning end of it, but yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
But again, I don't think that it was I don't think that was a bad call at all. I thought if anything, it was one of the DPIs, and even though it was pass interference, technically the book, the only reason I had an issue with it in a way was because it was like a lot worse things happened throughout that game, and they weren't calling it, and they decided to call it then. So I want to be like fair because I would say the same thing if it was on the Broncos side. But overall, I thought it was actually a really well refed game. And I thought these playoffs in general have been pretty good so far. Thank God.
Yeah, and like I get the neutral fans' frustration, for that call to be made in that situation, for those calls to be made in that situation. But the rules don't change just because it's overtime in the divisional round. So
especially on a pick like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because for me, it's like it's either an interception or incompletion. He did not complete the process of the catch in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, no. But either way, I know you are in Vegas. I know that you probably do want to live it up. So,
oh no, I'm about to hit the sheets. Actually, my dad just walked in the room a little bit ago. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys, man. This stream has been awesome. We've had almost 200 people at one point.
Yeah.
Right now we got 184 on the chat. So really weird game overall. Like super exciting, super gut wrenching. But we'll kind of get back together, regroup, and talk about it on Horsepower Hour on Monday night, man. Anything that you got cooking up until then?
Well, you guys remember me. So you guys remember how little I slept the night of the 2025 NFL Draft because I had to do the Everything We Know About Jahdae Barron video. So everything you need to know about Jarrett Stidham is coming tonight. I don't know when I'm going to finish it.
I love it.
Yeah, everything you need to know about Jarrett Stidham will drop tonight. I actually was in the process of making that video before I saw you went live, and I was like, "Ooh, I haven't done anything yet for this game, other than report the Bo whatever." But yeah, so I will make a video. It'll probably drop like, if I had to guess when I say I'm done, probably 12:30, 1 a.m. Everything you need to know about Jarrett Stidham. I do that for our draft picks, and I do that for our free agent and trade acquisitions. Well, I feel like Jarrett Stidham deserves his own video. Well, also, I do just want to say my heart hurts for you, Mark. The reason my heart hurts for you is because I saw when you had reported the Bo injury, I used to take that exact same walk that you were taking during that video, like almost every day for a year. When I was working in Vegas? Yeah, around the Aria loop. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so, I'm sitting at the Vidara.
Yeah, I used to go up those elevators when you first walk into the Aria. That I'd walk like a while to the T-Mobile Arena for our employee parking. But
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so when you were making that walk, like, I don't know, how long did it take you to fully digest it before you made that update?
I don't think I fully have yet, man. I really don't. I don't think I'm there yet fully. But I think for me, it was like, I'm gonna put your handle. It's at Kodiak Broncos. That's your Twitter and your YouTube, right? Make sure you guys go like and subscribe. But TikTok. But yeah, I don't think I fully kind of grasped it yet. I think it's one of those where I'm just trying to enjoy the fact that like we had this crazy win, and we'll talk about it. Maybe tomorrow I'll start really thinking about it, but it hasn't really fully hit me yet.
New Twitter profile picture, by the way. Follow me at Kodiak Broncos. Make sure you follow Mark too if you're over there. But new Twitter profile picture. What do y'all think?
I love it.
But yeah, no, it's ironic because you're in Las Vegas right now, and I saw Stidham start for us in Las Vegas 2 years ago. The game the Raiders beat us to knock us up the draft board that ultimately let us draft Bo Nix. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be at the AFC Championship. I'm definitely going to try to make it happen. Regardless, I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, either way, you've had a long day, so I know you want to go out there. But any parting words?
Yeah, no. That's I think that's a perfect way to end it. I just hope that by the end of the year, by the end of the NFL football season, we have a Jarrett Stidham jersey hanging up back there. Because if that's the case, that means something really good happened with Jarrett. So.
Oh yeah,
we got to add it to the Palcho and the Sanders and the Riley Moss and all those guys.
Exactly. I was my Hufanga and Moss are in the wash right now. I had to bring Hufanga because one of my friends doesn't have a jersey who I went to the game with. So I gave him Hufanga. Riley Moss is currently washing right now. And you know what? I went to the Flyers Golden Knights game a direct week after the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2018. And I saw so many Foles jerseys. All right. So Jarrett Stidham legacy, 2 games incoming. Jarrett Stidham is going to be a folk hero here in Denver, and I will gladly put his jersey on my wall.
100%, dude. 100%. This might be 2015, really in every single sense of the word, right? Where a backup quarterback came in and was a big part of us winning the Super Bowl. We'll see, but appreciate y'all, man. Everybody's been dope. You guys have an awesome rest of your night, man, and be sure to tune into horsepower hour on Monday. All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace.